Yo guys, Callum here from Tribe Training, and today's video is all about training and how to get the best results from your training. So today's video is all about one thing, and we're going to talk about technique. And technique is extremely important because it is kind of the fundamentals and building blocks for all of your training, okay? And I completely understand that we have different abilities, different flexibility, different weights, different heights, different genders, which can affect how technically good we are at certain aspects of our training. And I'm talking about this from my point of view. I have got injuries. I've broke my right ankle a couple of times, broke my and hurt my knee once. So my mobility isn't the best, which means I have to really focus on my technique. And the video today is kind of really about being completely okay and aware that we want to focus on our technique during our sessions, because often we think that more of something or a higher level, so level 2 or level 3, is better than sound technique, which isn't the case, okay? I completely understand that we want to be progressing as a member. You want to be challenging yourself, doing harder exercises, lifting heavier weights, and kind of making sure that you're in this trajectory of improving. However, we never want to try and sacrifice technique and range of motion for weight or reps or level of exercise, okay? And that sometimes happens. It typically happens more with males than it does females, usually to do with two things. Kind of men are typically, from my experience, slightly more competitive, and their ego gets in the way slightly. So men, this is kind of more directed to you. So what we want to try and do is make sure that we are performing exercise correctly with the right technique and leaving our ego at the door. So it doesn't matter how fast we finish something, how many reps we do, what levels we're doing, if we're doing it with shitty technique, okay, with garbage technique, because it doesn't matter. You could do a 400 press ups, but if they're all rubbish, you might as well have done 10 proper ones, okay? 10 good press ups are going to be kind of as effective as 400 terrible ones. And that's kind of the moral of the story today, and the point of today's lesson. Less is often more, okay? Good technique, sound execution, squat into below parallel if you can, keeping the elbows fairly tucked in on your press up, staying nice and tall and locked out in your plank, squeezing your core on all of the exercises. These are the kind of things that we want to be thinking about when we're training. And you need to think, okay, how do I look in this exercise? Am I cheating? Am I just going through quickly because I want to finish first or second in the group? Because that's not important. What is important is you, your journey, and are you improving week on week? And one of the easiest and most effective ways to do that is by focusing and nailing our technique, which the coaches will help you with. And finally, just kind of moving on, this is going to be something that we're always going to have to keep repeating, because when we are fatigued, this happens to everyone who has ever trained ever. So not just directed at you, but everyone. Myself, I've been training 5 years, and it happens to me every single session. The body, at a certain point in the session, usually when things get tough, the body will always look for the path of least resistance. So it will always find a way to make things easier. Okay, so it might be going to a shoulder press, but not fully locking out at the top. Or it might be going to a bicep curl and only going halfway down. Or going to a squat, but only going halfway in the squat. When we get fatigued, the body will try and find ways to make things easier, okay? And it's looking for the path of least resistance. Our job as coaches and as members is to make sure that we are looking for the path of most resistance. So how can we make the exercise harder, not easier? So how can we make it harder at any given moment during the session, specifically during the end of the session or the end of blocks, not easier, okay? And if you can do that, and if you can buy into that mentality of making things more challenging, so how can I slow it down? How can I add more weight but focus on technique? How can I get a little bit lower in my squat? Or how can I get a little bit deeper in my press up? All of these things making it harder are going to help you progress much greater than if you're finding the easy way out, okay? Because the body wants to be challenged. It wants to be pushed through to limits, and it wants to kind of be kept guessing, Whereas if you're always doing the same thing, always doing half reps, always doing sloppy reps, always doing super fast reps, you're not going to get the results you want. So this video, just in summary, is all about technique, technique, technique. Focus on it at training. Take your time with exercises. If you're not sure, ask one of the coaching team and they'll be happy to help you break down, make something harder, easier, so that you can keep progressing with your tribe training journey. Callum out.